A very good afternoon, March. Thanks for joining us here on the program. You are just on time for trending news. Time now for us to bring you up to speed stories that are making headlines at this hour. I am Nancy Limmer, and you can stream this live broadcast across all our social media platforms. Lookuptv on Twitter, Lookuptv on Facebook, and Lookuptv on our YouTube channel. Let's begin. A terror attack in Wadadud and Irisiku in Mandera South has left 3 people dead, 2 police officers and a teacher. The 2 a.m. incident that led to the destruction of a Safaricom postmaster killed. The incident comes days after the residents were assured of their security. This is one of the many attacks that have been carried out in the region this month by the Al-Shabaab militia. Now to some politics. Raila Odinga-led Azimio la Umoja coalition has said the anti-government demonstrations will go on for 3 days next week. In a statement, Azimio la Umoja said due to requests from all sectors, the peaceful protests will be held on Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. On Thursday, Raila said the demos will be held whether the government issues a permit or not. Part of the statement reads, the coalition hereby wishes to announce a revision of the calendar going forward. The peaceful protests will now be held on Wednesday, Thursday and Friday next week, in line with the request from the public to include 3 days of activity. Let's meet on Wednesday, Thursday and Friday. And let's move it forward. Businessman Deepak Kamani and 3 others have been acquitted of all charges in the 3.5 billion Anglo leasing scandal. Kamani had been charged alongside Rashmi Kamani and former Principal Secretaries Joseph Magari and Dave Mwangi. In acquitting the 4, trial magistrate Martha Mutuku said the prosecution has failed to prove the charges against the 4. They were facing charges of conspiring to defraud the government of 3.5 billion shillings in 2004 in a modernization project of the police security equipment and accessories. And President William Ruto has ordered the end of and sharply criticized the Azimio demonstrations across the country, as witnessed on Wednesday. The president says the demonstrations led by Azimio coalition are costly due to their destructive nature. Ruto said this in Kinamba after the inspection and launch of the Njambini-Naivasha Road in Nakuru County.
And it is the one that was is brought with the areas that we have put. Very good.
Sababu tulisaidiana na wao tukawapatia mbolea, Mungu akatujalia mvua. Mwaka huu tutakuwa na chakula ambayo haijawahi kuonekana Kenya. Na tunangojea tu miezi miwili tutoe chakula shambani, tuendelee na taifa letu la Kenya. Tuko pamoja jameni? Wengine wanataka kutufanyia maandamano. Hata ukiweka sufuria ufanye maandamano siku ngapi, bei ya unga itarudi chini? Bei ya unga itarudisha chini na maandamano na kuvaa sufuria kwa kichwa? Si itarudisha na bidii ya wakulima na usaidizi wa serikali? Hiyo ndio mpango tuko naye, na nawaambia wakulima wa taifa letu la Kenya, asanteni sana. Wakulima wamezalisha mpaka ikapita ekari 1200 mpya imetumiwa na wakulima wetu kuzalisha chakula katika taifa letu la Kenya. Na mimi nataka niwaambie wa Kenya, mambo ya unga, mambo ya chakula, mpango yetu iko sahihi, na tutahakikisha kwamba tunapunguza gharama ya maisha, kwa sababu inapunguzwa na mpango, haipunguzwi na maandamano. Uliona juzi walifanya maandamano Ijumaa iliyopita, ile ingine watu 7 wakakufa. Wamefanya maandamano juzi, watu 8 wakakufa. Mimi nataka niwaulize, mnataka tuendelee na hii maandamano? Mnataka tuendelee na hii maandamano? Mimi nataka niwaambie, maandamano haiwezi tena kufanyika katika hii taifa letu la Kenya. Hiyo wanasema Wednesday, hiyo wanasema sijui lini. Hiyo maandamano haiwezekani. Haiwezekani.
Na ndio wameona sababu tuliwashinda kwa akili ya mpango wa kazi. Tuliwashinda kwa kura. Sasa wameona ile kitu rahisi wanaweza fanya ni kujifanya ni maandamano, lakini ni mapinduzi ya serikali wanapanga.
Asante sana.
Right, and that is a story that will be coming your way in detail in our subsequent bulletins. That and all the other stories that are within the aftermath of the Azimio Wednesday demonstrations. Moving on, Interior CS Kithure Kindiki has strongly warned Azimio leaders and supporters over the planned anti-government protests. Speaking in Narok County during a peace meeting for the Transmara security agenda, Kindiki has also warned the bandits, stating that they will use all his power to deal with the criminals and bandits in the region.
So hapo ndio tumefikishana. Ule ako na silaha ambaye anataka kutumia ajaribu. Na I want to assure you, you do not have more firearms and more weapons than the government of Kenya. Hiyo bunduki moja ambayo si halali umeficha hapo na mishale 3. Tutapambana na nyinyi, wewe na hiyo bunduki yako 2-3 na silaha yote na bunduki na risasi na chochote ambacho tuko nacho cha kulinda wananchi wa Kenya, tujue kama ni wewe ama ni serikali iko na silaha zaidi. Katiba ya Kenya, na hakuna mtu anajua katiba kutuliko. So tuambie Kiingereza mingi. Hiyo Kiingereza you have a right to box in the air, but your right to box in the air freely ends where my nose starts. Tutaki karibu mali tena, wajaribu. Yes. Sisi hatusemi watu wasifanye siasa. Hata mkutano jaanza, wamama wameanza kuporwa, wa vijana wameanza kudungwa visu.
And more of that will be coming your way later on. Kenya has fine-tuned its business and legal environment to offer robust protection for investments and property rights. This is according to President William Ruto, who spoke during the Kenya-Indonesia meeting at State House, Nairobi. Ruto said that these strategic interventions will ultimately turn Kenya into one of the top-ranking investment destinations in the world.
If you don't have your own manufacturing facilities, when things happen, you can easily miss even Panadol. And we don't want to be there. We import 140 billion Kenya shillings, about $1.2 billion of pharmaceutical products every year. That is a market that is available. And this year, in the budget that we put in, we have actually created incentives. We have removed taxes. We have removed excise duties on investments in pharmaceutical and medical products.
We hope to conclude initial agreement during President's visit to invest in an oil in a refinery in Kenya. So by next month, and I push to CEO Pertamina to finalize this with her counterpart in Kenya. We export to Europe 3.5 million tons of palm oil per year. But I reported to the President Joko Widodo before I came here. I think we're going to divert 1.5 million tons of palm oil to Africa.
And also, the housing levy will contribute a whopping 73 billion shillings towards the affordable housing scheme that has continued to generate heat across the country. The funds, according to the government, will assist the country achieve over 200,000 housing units every year and assist address the current shortage of houses in the country. This scheme, as the rising cost of steel and cement, were identified as some of the emerging challenges facing the multi-billion scheme. According to the PS for Housing, Charles Hinger, the enactment of the housing levy into law was a game changer in the project that seeks to increase the number of houses in the country.
Buyer within the units. And then the housing fund says...
So there's so many incentives, there's tax incentives, but then, we have to every day keep on looking because, as you said, and cost is cost, and this cost are, public information. The cost of steel in just the last couple of months has gone up, in some instances, up to 90%. And these houses, the biggest cost is what? Cement and steel. So if we don't do anything on those two, we will not be able to tackle the issue of affordability. So we are constantly working on that. But today in the afternoon, because here we are also listening, we want the industry to tell us what more do you think we can do as government. Because again, we cannot just come and force and tell them this is what you're going to do. Tell us what you want us to do for you. We go sit back and government works on policy. Okay, but because this program is deliberately around stimulating the economy, you cannot stimulate the economy when you're not making those kind of interventions. We want many people to build. And by the way, so in terms of progress, we have made very good progress, I must say. The last couple of months, since about September, we have got about 36,000 units that are under construction as we speak. And those ones are ones that we have started. We had another 9,000 that were projects that we carried over from the Jubilee government into this government, and of course we didn't stop them.
And contribute to employment of so many young people who are graduating from the technical and vocational institutes, but also the engineers and architects, quantity surveyors who are graduating from our local universities. In terms of the technical and vocational training institutions, yes, they are giving us graduates who have done diplomas and artisanal courses, even from NITA. But when you look at them on the ground, when they are working on the ground, you find that there's a lot of skill gaps in terms of practical experience. And so we are working closely with the NCA and National Industrial Training Authority so that, as the Principal Secretary said, we are going to have the construction sites as being a place where they can do the dual practical training.
And now to some sporting action. KCB FC has picked Mwalala as head coach. The club has appointed Bernard as the new head coach, strengthening the technical bench ahead of the 2023-2024 FKF Premier League season. This follows the expiry of Zedekiah Otieno's contract at the club. Mwalala brings with him a wealth of experience and a strong track record, both as a player and as a football coach, spanning 7 years in local and regional football assignments. Some of the notable clubs that he has steered are Nzoia Sugar Football Club, Bandari FC, Homeboys FC, and Ulinzi Stars, registering remarkable outcome. Right, and we've come to the end of the broadcast this afternoon. But let me bring you up to speed with what you can expect at 7 p.m. and at 9 p.m. We'll be looking at, of course, still the aftermath of the protests that were on Wednesday, and word by the Azimio coalition will now say the protest will be on from Wednesday, Thursday and Friday of next week. That will be 3 days in a row. And of course, word from the government, the president himself has castigated the intentions of the opposition to have protests and demonstrations next week, as well as the Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki will be giving you details of that as well. And security in the north. Remember, the Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki is in Narok today just to assess the situation right there and of course trying to curb the banditry attacks in the region. And in the courts, we'll be looking at the Anglo-Leasing 4 who have been acquitted for lack of sufficient evidence. Remember, the case started way back in 2004, and we'll be giving you the details of the case that sparked public outrage since then, and now 4 of the suspects have been acquitted of those charges. We'll have that and so much more, a lot in our business front as well as in the sporting action. I am Nasir Lim. I appreciate you for watching. Keep it right here on Lookuptv. Have yourselves a pleasant afternoon.